Terrific.
Really good.
John Butler, welcome to Bluesfest and the
Thank you.
25th anniversary of Bluesfest. And you have quite a history, of course, here and with Byron itself. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your long association with Byron and the festival.
Okay. Well, my wife and I, my wife gave birth to our 2 children just 20 k's inland up in the hills, a place that we used to live in for a long time. And I guess my very first Bluesfest was in 2000 or 2001, and that was like still some of the best memorable shows in my life. That was kind of like the show that kind of broke us on the East Coast in a lot of ways.
And well, in a way, it was the festival that kind of broke you as a kind of festival act in a way, wasn't it? There was a great reaction to you.
It was a pretty pivotal moment in this next few Bluesfests. Yeah, it was. In a lot of ways, it got us a fan base outside of the festivals, from Brizzy all the way down to Melbourne, because of the amount of people that the Bluesfest attracts. So once they saw us here, we had audiences almost over half the country. But we had we've had some amazing gigs. I mean, our first gig was to 100 people. Our next gig was to about 500 people until the monsoonal rain started. And I told my wife, I said, Dan, we're going to fill this tent. Somehow we're going to fill this tent the second gig. And so it was about a quarter full. And then the rain came and 3,000 people ran into it in the middle of a primed war. Like we were like smoking. Like it was the peak of the show. And 3,000 people kind of came in and just went, blah! And so for the next half hour after that, the room just was ripped off the festival. And we had one of the most memorable gigs of our lives. And
well, you've been on the road for most of the year already, and you've got quite a lot of touring still to go. How is that going so far? You've just been in America for a while?
Yeah, it's going really good. Grant and Byron and I are just loving making music, and we just have this amazing audience that loves watching us do it. So it's a perfect situation, We love making it, they love listening to it, and then we do. It seems like every night something really special kind of happens, and it just seems to get better and better, which I just keep on pinching myself going, that's great. So,
And of course you've changed drummer in the last year. How has that changed the dynamic of the trio?
Changed it is in a good way. It feels extremely solid. That's all I could really say. I mean, I don't think there's any better or worse, because everybody I've ever played with has been absolutely magnificent, but Grant brings a very deep groove. We call it 60-40. You can either be 60-40, 60 up here and 40 down there, or 60 down there and 40 up here, and he has this 60 down here. So it's deep. The one drop it's heavy, and it's an absolute pleasure to play with him. And Byron and Grant have a 7-8 year long relationship as a rhythm section, so our chemistry kind of locked extraordinarily fast, and it's been a lot of fun.
But you've worked for most of your career as a trio. Why is it important to you to have that dynamic as a band and not add 2 or 3 other musicians to?
I think one of it's just I'm a creature of habit. I also think 3 is the magic number, and I think coming from a solo background where I did a lot of the bass, drums, and guitar kind of all at once, it was a fairly wide, dynamic, kind of full show. Adding to that, I had to be very quite selective, because you could easily kind of just over dilute the whole thing and make a wall of sound. So I kind of choose to play with these fantastic bass players and drummers that can create a huge sound with what they do, and then that's all you need. Any more usually just becomes too much, and then any less is good space. So
has that made you a better musician, do you think, working with that kind of dynamic?
Sure. I mean, and I think it's made all of us better musicians. I mean, we're not really interested to go, okay, there's a keyboard on this song and the Moog bass, we better get a keyboardist. Byron is just playing Moog bass and keyboard at once, and singing, and Grant, there's steel pan or maybe there's marimba and drums on the song and vacuum vocals. He's doing it all at once, and we just give it a go and see if we can do it. And if it sounds musical and the groove is still there, and we're honoring the song, then we'll keep to that format. And so we're doing a lot. We're kind of octopus people at times, but it still has a musicality to it that's exciting and extremely challenging to us as musicians. So until that time where it doesn't feel like we can honor the song by us 3, then we might change it then. But at the moment, 3 is the magic number.
Your latest album, Flesh and Blood, has been incredibly successful here and overseas. It seems your career for 15 years has just been on a steady upward curve. That must be very gratifying for you.
It is very gratifying, yes. It is very gratifying. It's a little, when I step outside of this little bubble I'm in, which is mainly family and my music, yeah, I've seen a lot of careers not last that long, and I don't know why. And then I stand back and I go, oh, well, shit, we're 15 years in here, and we're still relevant, and we're still around, and we're still growing, and I don't know how to make sense of that, but I'm really stoked about it. I'm really happy about it. And all I really try to do now is enjoy it. Enjoy this moment in time and make the most out of it and make the best out of it, as opposed to going, oh, this is really great, but next year we want to be on the bigger stage, and we want to be headlining, and we want to be making this much money, and we want more people to come, and more, which, you know, is an easy thing to do, I think, as a kind of a motivated, kind of goal-oriented person that I can be. But nowadays it's just about, like, we're still around and it's getting better, and enjoy this. Nothing will last forever, so just enjoy this while it is here.
And how does the rest of the year pan out for you?
It's fairly thick and fast, but a bunch of amazing things going on, like Lollapalooza and Fuji Rock and Girton Festival and Outside Lands and lots of great shows of our own. And we're doing another Red Rocks, and just a lot of abundance, a lot of great things going on. So it's very busy, but it's busy with doing good things. So I'm
looking forward to
thank
being
you.
in front of a Byron audience.
I am. I'm really excited about tonight. I'm kind of itching, actually. I'm chomping at the bit at the moment, actually. Just kind of waiting to turn it on and do it. Yeah.